Let's see here. And I'm going to back up just a second and log completely out so that I can have everyone see where we start. So anytime you're logging into command, it's agent.kw.com. Your username and password is the same as it is when you log into kw.com. So I'm going to click sign in and it will take us into the command platform. All those links on the left take you to various places. There are two spots we're going to be looking at today for opportunities. One is the contact section, and then one is the opportunities section. It's nice because when you hover your cursor over the icons, it'll tell you exactly what it is. So the first step in creating an opportunity is you must have the person assigned to that opportunity in contact. So let's think about an offer. Let's say that you have a buyer who's writing an offer on a property, it's been accepted, and you're ready to send me paperwork. Here's the thing. You can choose to create an opportunity as you write the offer, put it into opportunities, link to DocuSign, create the forms, get them signed, and then submit everything for review. What a lot of agents are doing right now is writing the offer in dotloop or writing the offer in zip forms, and then when it's done, they put it into opportunities. Because we're still learning the DocuSign piece, the training we're going to do today is if you already have the signed contracts. We're just going to pretend you already have them. Maybe you got them from zip forms and they signed the PA there. Maybe you got them from dotloop. We're just going to assume that the contracts are signed and now you're just ready to submit them to me. We're going to do a second DocuSign training here soon. I've got to find a time on the calendar to put it. But so when we have this buyer and he or she has the accepted offer, as an office, we like you guys to submit your paperwork when it pins, so when the offer is accepted, and then when it closes. Now, if it's your listing, we say,
Jessica, sorry, can I ask you a quick question?
yeah.
When you, so if you don't have, a sign, like you're just creating your offer for the buyer, the purchase agreement, and if I create an opportunity, but I don't put it like under the contract or, like move it forward, like active, but like nurturing that kind of watching stage, would it, and then it doesn't go through, would it affect the statistics?
There's two ways you can get rid of an opportunity. If you're creating opportunities just to test them, you're going to want to archive them and it gets them off your screen and it does not affect the statistics.
Okay.
Now, if it's a legitimate, like you wrote an offer and it fell through, then you would mark it as lost opportunity because it was a legit lost opportunity. That one does affect your statistics. So I will show you, I got to plug my computer in. I will show you where each button is so you know where to go for each, for archive and for and for lost opportunity, sorry. All right, so we've got our paperwork signed. We're ready to submit the paperwork to the office. Step one is going into contacts and adding in the client. Sorry. Now, if you already have someone in here, that's fantastic, but we're gonna assume we don't have the contact in here already. So in the top right-hand corner, we're gonna hit add a contact. And you would put the first and last name of your buyer. And then obviously to have the most healthy database possible, you want to have an email, a phone, and an address. Primary email would go here, phone is here. If you're on a team, you could specify who you wanted the, if you wanted to assign it to the team or if it was you. I test a lot of stuff for Pat's team, so I've got them saved in here. If I wanted to add more information like that address, I could go down here and do additional information. So I'm going to add Jeff here, and I gotta minimize this. And I'm going to hit create. Now let's say I have two buyers. I have to add the second one separately. But what's nice is I can go into this add relationship and link the two. Select Jeff. Now, now they're connected, and then I'll hit create. So step one, creating the contact is complete. Now I can go into the opportunity section and start creating that piece. Just as I had the turquoise button in the top right-hand corner for adding a contact, it appears in the top right-hand corner for creating an opportunity as well. Notice you have all these little gadgets here. It can be pretty overwhelming if you're not quite sure what they mean. This is called your sales pipeline. So those statistics that Larissa was kind of talking about, this is where some of them will display. So you have a section for listings, then you have a section for buyers, then you have a section for leases. Most often I'm seeing agents work in these two. Now here's a situation where you would decide how high of a level you want to use command. If you are using command to its fullest potential, you would add a client into an opportunity and you would cultivate them. You'd nurture them until they turn into an appointment, and then you'd have that appointment, and then hopefully they go active as a listing. Then you get the offer, then you move to closed. For the life cycle of a buyer, you cultivate them until you get a buyer's appointment. Then they become active. You're showing homes. You write the offer, it gets accepted, and then it closes. And the idea is that over time, the more people you're putting in here, it starts tracking your conversion rates. It tracks the average time it takes to cultivate. It tracks the average time between the appointment and going active. So you really get to learn a great deal about your business, and it allows us to know where training opportunities might present itself. So if we have an agent who is consistently getting seller appointments, but he's not listing the homes, what might be going on in that appointment that's not securing him the listing? Let's say he has a ton of buyers in the cultivate status, but none are getting to an appointment. All right, do we need to do some script practice and maybe see why he can't get that first appointment scheduled? So it really helps you and us identify, okay, where do we need to put in some extra work or add added training? So to create a new opportunity, again, you'll hit the create opportunity button. It's going to pop up this little box here, and it's going to pre-fill some of it, but other items you're going to want to put in yourself. So Indy Metro West will pre-fill as your market center. If you're on a team, you can create it under the team name. I'm going to leave mine just as me as the owner. Opportunity type, is this a listing? Is it a buyer, landlord, or tenant? We wrote an offer for a buyer, so I'm going to change it to buyer. Now I can search for the client. And this is why we had to add the client first, is because I can't create a new one from within this page. It only searches my existing database. I'm going to find Jeff here, and I'm going to add him. And then I'm going to go to the co-buyer, and I'm going to add Sarah. And it's nice. Notice that Sarah was related to Jeff, so it kind of knew that I was going to be searching for her anyway. Opportunity name. This is over time really shifted as to what we want you to put in here. I recommend putting in at least what side they're on, maybe their name, maybe the address you're writing the offer on. There's no set there's really no standard for what you have to put in the opportunity name, so long as the address field is completed on the details page here in a little bit. For a while, we didn't have an address section, oddly enough, that showed up on my end. So I had no way of knowing the addresses of files. So opportunity name will pre-fill with the buyer's name. And then obviously, whether if they're a buyer or if it were listing, it would say either listing or seller. I can go in and put an estimated close date or maybe a time frame if I wanted to. I could put in their budget if I really want to make sure I'm putting all the details in for a client. And then the commission rate, average commission rate, I mean, typically we'll see 3%. Technically, I think our average is 2.8 for all of 2019. The cultivate stage, I'm going to go ahead and change him to active. I'm done cultivating. We've shown homes, and he's written an offer. And under contract doesn't show up, so I'm going to do active and that we're in negotiations. Then I'll hit create, and it's going to take me to the main opportunity page for Jeff. It's got the two client names here. It has the name of the opportunity here. Up in the right-hand corner, these are checklists. I'm going to do a training on how to create checklists. Hopefully, I don't know if it'll be this month, but it would be early April if not. Basically, take a list of things you'll do for a buyer and put it into a checklist. Make a list of things you'll do for a seller, build it into a checklist. I know when I did transaction coordinating for many of the agents here, I had like a paper one I did. So the idea is to make an electronic checklist to make sure you're doing everything you need to for that buyer throughout his relationship with you. Down here, we've got a bunch of different tabs. Some of them you can access now, some you can't just yet. Details, buyer profile, documents, offers. The commissions tab is grayed out right now. And then we have a notes and a timeline. Details is going to be first, and I'm going to go in here and click on the pencil so I can edit some of this information. But quick note, over to the right, this is where you would mark an opportunity as lost if the deal falls through. So it's within the opportunity, under the details tab to the right, lost opportunity, and then it goes away. But I'm going to go ahead and click this pencil so I can edit some information. I have the opportunity to change the name of the opportunity. Maybe I want to put Jeff and Sarah Foster. It does still have me as the deal owner. The contacts are here, the stages. I'm going to move it to under contract. Estimated close date, we'll go ahead and put in. If I wanted to put in the dates I had the initial appointment, what the contract date was, close date, I could. But we'll do that here in a few minutes anyway on another page. Sure, I mute. Noise. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hit save. That's the details page. Over here on the property, if I hit the pencil, I can put in the country that it is in, and then I can also put in the address. When you start typing the address, don't be alarmed. It is going to start pre-filling based on like Google Map records, I believe. But I'm just going to put in a fake one for now, just to get by. Hendricks County 46112 and hit save. So now the address is put in, so perfect. Now as a leadership member, when I go to put something in your opportunity, or maybe I need to view it for some reason, I can search by address, so it makes it a lot easier for me. There's a section here for front porch estimate. I would look at that. I'm trying to think if it would probably be on the answers.kw.com page. They have a couple of our agents have spoken to them at our conventions, Mega Camp and Family Reunion. So I've not done anything with it, but it has to do with estimates. So it's worth looking into. Now I could go into the document section, which I'm going to skip over buyer profile. That's actually pretty new. It basically says what their app association is. So right now, neither Jeff nor Sarah are registered with a consumer platform, so they don't have my app. I've not shared it with them, and they've not signed up. That's what that's saying. When it comes to getting me the paperwork for the transaction, it's going to go in the document section. Now, when Command rolled out, we as an office created checklists ourselves to help guide you through what to turn in. So over here on the left-hand side, you've got a status option. It'll tell you if something has been uploaded, approved, rejected. You'll see where these statuses fall in just a little bit. But over here are the stages that Command has created, and then we make checklists for each stage. So under consultation, you could have certain items show up here. Under contract, we have all of these items. And then same for closed, we have these items. Basically, these are placeholders. So let's say for under contract, we're ready to upload the purchase agreement. Notice for each header, there's a bunch of information underneath. So it says a purchase contract is required. This includes a fully signed purchase agreement and any counter offers. There's a spot for the BLC sheet. That's optional. Sometimes I have agents turn that in, sometimes I don't. Seller's disclosure and lead-based paint are conditionally required. It may depend on when the home was built, whether or not it's bank-owned or an estate. So we tried to put in those notes to make it easier for agents to know when something was required. The buyer office policy, we have one for the seller side and the buyer side. Those are required. An exclusive agency, we obviously recommend agents have those. Not everyone does, so it's labeled as optional. Copy of earnest money, and then we created a couple of placeholders for amendments, addendums, and then you'll see down here I have spots for DAs. Here's the thing. These are placeholders. You're not going to use every single one. What we want is you to turn in the items that are required. That's what we want. I have some agents who will create a custom folder, and maybe they want to put all the inspection paperwork in its own folder. you can do that. You can certainly do that. You would go in after you create it and you can start adding documents that way. Just because there's not a placeholder does not mean that you can't upload a document. So let's backtrack just a second and take a look and see what it looks like to add a document. Real quick, I'm going to download just a couple of forms to add. And I have everyone muted right now just because there was background noise, but I'll turn it off here in just a few minutes and go over any questions you're having. So just hang tight on that. Where's my little disclosures? We'll just do 2 for now. Okay. So when I'm ready to upload that signed contract, my buyer has a signed offer, I would click add a file. And I can choose to manually upload, which is what I'm going to do. Manually uploading allows me to browse my computer. Custom folders would be searching the custom folders. Maybe there's documents in there I want to move over. But I'm going to do a manual upload. I'm going to, excuse me, drag and drop or browse. So here's that purchase agreement. I'm going to open it and assign. And now you'll see that the status went from not uploaded to uploaded, and then it gives the name of the file here. You do have a menu on the right side to remove it or download it and print it. Because you've not submitted this opportunity for me to review the paperwork, you can still remove it. Once you submit it to the Market Center for review, you can't remove the document until I send it back to you. Then I could do the same thing with seller's disclosure. Add a file, browse, find the seller's disclosure, hit open, and then, oops, went too fast, then assign. If I had my own custom document, maybe I needed to upload a copy of the inspection report, add a document, I would choose a type, authorization, contract disclosure, lender, whatever it needs to be. I could enter a note if I wanted to. And then I could drag and drop or browse and then upload just as I did the other ones. For closed, there's the settlement statement, the warranty deed, vendor's affidavit, the recertified seller's disclosure, and the title commitment. However, I know that many of you go to a closing and you leave with one big stack of paperwork and you scan it in one file, which is why I created a placeholder for the full set of closing docs. So you would add the file, browse for it, and then attach it. I will be honest, there are agents who sometimes will take the purchase agreement, seller's disclosure, lead-based paint, buyer office policy, and it's in one attachment, and they put it all in the purchase agreement placeholder. Not the end of the world. As long as I have the paperwork in there and it's signed, that's what matters most to me, not necessarily what order it's in. In a perfect world, my OCD, yes, I would love everything to be broken up in each section, but no longer am I working on a team, so I really don't use it as much or have that need as much. So if you don't have the ability or you're unsure how to split those documents out, at the end of the day, as long as you upload the correct paperwork, the required paperwork, into Command, I'm okay with that. Once you have all of the paperwork for that pended file, so you need the purchase contract, the seller's disclosure, lead-based paint if applicable, and the buyer office policy. Let's say you have all those things attached. Now you submit to the Market Center, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to submit? Contact your Market Center if you have questions. Yes. You're going to hit submit. You now don't have the option to remove it. You only have the option to replace it. A couple of the other things I didn't show over here, adding an item adds another placeholder. If there's not something on here that you want, click add an item, label it with the document name, the document type, and then save it after you browse. Adding a comment adds a comment to the stage that you're in. So right now I'm in under contract, so I'm in turquoise. So when I hit add a comment, it's going to connect it here. Attaching multiple files is if I'm wanting to basically maybe take 2 or more files saved to my computer and upload them, or using DocuSign, which we'll do in another class. There's something else I thought of that I wanted to tell you, and now it completely escapes my mind. Oh, I do not get notified. And .loop, I get an email every time you guys submit something. I get an email when you send a message via .loop. It all forwards to my email. Command does not do that. The idea was by International that agents, leadership, everybody should always be time blocking the majority of the tasks that they have. I understand that, and I get time blocking. But I know sometimes there are going to be situations where you might submit something that needs attention right away. My suggestion for you in the interim is just to send me an email whenever you have a situation like that. So when you submit this this file for me to review, I'm going into Command about twice a day and reviewing each of the ones that I have, making sure what is submitted is required, sending paperwork off to Chris Price, our broker, to sign. But when you guys are adding comments, it shows up to me as a red bubble the next time I log into your opportunity, but I'm in no way notified. Now, I will say my Kelly app, I've been playing around with my notifications for that, so I'm going to see if that fixes it. But relying on notifications from an app means I'm going to be tied and looking at my phone all day long, which is not the best way to structure my day. So again, if you have something that is time sensitive, if you need something signed by a broker immediately, or a price change to a listing immediately, email works best right now, just because it's a push notification that on my computer, which is what I'm already on. So that's what makes the most sense to me right now. Otherwise, it's about twice a day that I'm going in and reviewing all of the opportunities. I have a section called Command Market Center that you guys do not have, but it's pretty similar in view. So I'll go into opportunities, and the opportunity that was just submitted shows up here in the compliance request section. Down here, it gives an opportunity ID. I have the address, the client name, who the owner and the assignees are, and then I can go in and click review. Go to the stage of the transaction that you submitted. Notice it tells me it's been submitted, and now it's highlighting red that there was a comment added. So again, I will only see the comment if I actually go into the opportunity. It doesn't shoot me a notification via email that there's something I need to review. I would go over here, I'd review any new documents, and I would approve them or reject them. Let's say something is missing, a signature. I could type in, please review page 8, need seller signature. And now it's going to shoot you back the same notification, the little red dot that I just got. If it's correct, I could approve it. And then you'll see the statuses over here change. There is a little glitch in Command right now where the scrolly bar thing goes away. So don't be alarmed. Just refresh your page and it will come back. And then you'll see, I can see it's rejected with a note attached. You can see it's approved. I can change the status to returned. And then if I go back to the agent side, I'm going to see pretty similar, the exact same thing. I will go into opportunities for Jessica. Let's see, it was my under contract buyer. He was in escrow. And I'm going to go over this page in just a second, but I wanted you guys to see on the document section now, those notes appear for you as well. So under contract stage was returned, the purchase agreement was rejected. There's a note attached Y. If you hover over, it says, please review page 8, need seller signature. Now you can go in and say, oh shoot, you know what? Yes, I did upload the wrong one. Here, let me get the correct one. Drop down, replace, browse the correct one, hit replace. Oh, no, it does say you cannot have the same names, which is a little ridiculous to me. Just change that real quick because I want you to see what it looks like when you do fully replace something. All right, so we're going to replace with the correct purchase agreement. Now it will let me. and it says replaced. So on my end, I will see that it went from returned to replaced. The status changes to changed, and then it's important to resubmit to the Market Center. Now ISAMCA can go back and approve it. Let's get out of here. So just to recap, you have an accepted offer, you have a listing that is live, you create your contact first, then you go into opportunities, create the opportunity, fill in the details page, and then add the documents. We will do offers and commissions in another class. I want to break them up so it's not too much at once. Commissions is how basically in years past we would do green sheets. Now you can submit a commission request in Command. There's no timeline on when green sheets are going away because they're in lab phase with commission, so not all market centers are using them, and they're still working through some of the issues that it has, but we'll do that on another class. I'm going to go back to the sales pipeline. Notice this view changed a little bit. That's because I'm in the buyers under contract stage. So let me back up. Here's your sales pipeline. You have the listing section. You have the buyer section. At any point, you can click on any of these little icons and you'll see any opportunities you have created. I don't have any buyers that are active right now. I don't have any that I created in the appointment stage, and I don't believe I have any more in Cultivate. But under contract, I have the one I just created, and then I had another one I did as well. What's nice is that if you are tracking every stage of the file, Jeff and Sarah are under contract, but they're in the escrow stage. Now they're ready to start having their inspection. Drag and drop. Now let's say they get through inspection and they're ready for appraisal. Come back here, friend. Drag and drop to appraisal. And you would keep doing this until you get to closed. If I go under contract, you can move up here to closed. Come on, Jeff and Sarah. Yeah, the drag and drop feature is not always the best. There it goes. It highlighted turquoise. So I would move it down here. Just to reiterate, if you're within the detail stage and you mark it as lost opportunity, that's when a deal fell through. If you're within like an under contract or active appointment, let's go to this one. This was a training one I did. Sometimes it's going to have an archive option, sometimes it's not. Let's move this to buyer. Still learning all the ropes with permissions. Let's see where he went. Well, he went away. Isn't that fun? Board view or list view, you can change it if you want to. I'm just used to the board view, so I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, you can't archive in certain stages. I believe you can in Cultivate an appointment, and I thought you could in Active, but that one I just had completely disappeared. Otherwise, I would show you how that drop down does start to show the option to archive. I'm going to give me just 1 second. I know we've covered a lot, but just to reiterate again, you start with contacts. You start with contacts, you create the opportunity, and then after filling out the detail section, you upload the documents. That is the document review piece. Now there's several stages to transactions within Keller Williams. Like I said, you need to get paperwork signed, so we're going to do a DocuSign class again. You need to do your commission request, so we'll do another class on that. If anyone ever wants to watch any of those old videos where I did record them, let me know and I'll resend those out, but I'll do a fresh one here soon as well. But basically it's creating your contact, going into your opportunity, and then creating your opportunity, and then adding the document, submitting for review. I'm going to minimize my screen. What questions does everyone have so far, if any?
This is Candy.
There he is.
Am overwhelmed. That is a lot of stuff. So am I right in the fact that even if I kept dot loop, and I submitted everything by putting like your email for approval, I still have to go in here and do all these steps too?
After a certain date, yes. We haven't shut off dotloop yet, so I still have agents who are submitting them for review in there. I have to talk with the leadership team and decide when we want to stop having agents submit via dotloop, because what's going to happen is April 15th, I'm going to lose access. So anything you guys previously would have submitted, I'm no longer going to be able to see. So you may close something and I have to assume I received the listing and pending paperwork. So it's just the fact that as a leadership group, we're going to be blind, which is unfortunate. So we're going to here soon have to decide when the shutoff date is for agents creating and submitting files in dotloop. Now, any agent at any time can decide that they want to extend their own dotloop contract. I've had a couple ask in the past if they could do that, and some I think are still considering it. But it still won't allow you to submit to the office. If you get your own dotloop account, it will only let you do their e-signature and some templates, but you're still going to have to come in here, add your contact, create the opportunity, and then upload the documents. Now, I think one of the overwhelming pieces, at least for me, is when you're in an opportunity, there's so much going on that it feels like, oh, there's so many pieces to fill in, and I need to add the date for this. I mean, look at this: team, tags, owner, face, stage. You do not have to fill all that in. The only thing you have to fill in is anything that has an asterisk next to it. So I don't want anyone to think that they have to go in and put something for every single thing, because it feels like a lot. And part of the reason that it looks like that is because as KW rolled this out, they had to make sure that this was a software or a platform that worked for every agent's business. What we legally have to do here in Indiana is different than what agents in New York or California or Texas may have to do. So that's why you at times will see boxes and fields of information asking you to put in that don't make sense for our business or just don't seem necessary. So my suggestion is just to do what's required, which is anything red and an asterisk, and then utilize these placeholders to kind of guide you through what's required for each stage. I would also suggest, and as you can see looking through mine, I've done it a few times myself. I do a lot of test opportunities. So I will go into Command and I will just add random people. None of these folks are people I have met in person other than my husband, obviously. But I just add people in here and I play around with things. I create test opportunities a lot. I create test buyer opportunities. I create test listing opportunities. And I just do it over and over again because you want to practice on yourself and like a close friend or family member rather than practicing on your client. The good news is your client isn't affected by any of this that takes place in here. As long as they've gotten the paperwork and they've signed it, they're not going to care if you moved them into the active stage versus the appointment. They're not even going to see that. And truly, even though I went in here and I was showing you this drag and drop, you don't have to do that. Agents who are using Command at a high level and really tracking their business from within Command are doing the drag and drop and monitoring each stage because they want to know how good they are converting appointments. They want to know how often or how quickly they can move an active to under contract. It's just one of the many ways that Command's trying to offer as much as they can in a section so that you know all that you can about your business.
I guess I thought that if we purchased dotloop on our own, then we could still just like email you PDF, and that's where I'm confused. So that's fine. I just needed to know this. And I've got a closing coming up soon with Keller. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like a Susie Q and just like practice with you. We're going to do role play. Is that good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, green sheets still open. I don't know if you or John remember doing those from when you were here the first time. We can.
I never did them. John did them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can still do it the green sheet way, or we can practice doing it the commission way in here. We can hop on a Zoom call, screen share, whatever we can.
Okay.
I'm pretty relaxed. I mean, I know that there are going to be times where the system may not be working or you guys are in a scramble and, hey, can I just you know, we may not follow every step to a T every single time because we just want to get deals done. So I'm usually pretty flexible in those situations, that so long as we can find the documents, we'll normally get the file closed out and everyone paid.
Okay.
Michelle, Larissa, did you all have any questions?
No, I think I'm good with this.
Okay. I did end up finding where it pushed that one opportunity to it, labeled it a legacy one. And I'll be honest, I have to go back and see what that meant. There's so many new terms we're having to learn. So, but yeah, just remember, if you're archiving, that's what I use when I get rid of a duplicate or a test opportunity. A lost opportunity is the one that's actually going to hurt your stats.
Okay.
So don't use that for like practice ones.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do I do with it after it's in, sorry, you may have already just said that, but multitasking. It's in DocuSign, and how do I get it back? I have to re-download it and re-upload it?
I don't have a room created for it that's not closed out, so I don't know that it
You
will.
can go into mine.
Well, I'm gonna do a DocuSign class again here soon. I did the one, but I promised I'd do two. Basically, it's when you're adding so you're in the Documents tab of Command, Michelle, you'll add the file, but you'll choose DocuSign. And then if you create the opportunity first, and then it pushes into DocuSign, which I'm sure you did, it'll pre-fill with the signed purchase agreement, the signed office policy. You just select the one you need. So it's go into the opportunity, documents, add the file, and then choose DocuSign as your source. And then it will pull in the ones that your client signed.
Okay, I'm going to try that.
That way, yeah, you don't have to download it from DocuSign and then upload it. The two are synced together.
Okay, perfect.
So here's maybe a dumb question. So like, as I'm doing things with my clients, since I've got to use either DocuSign or Dotloop right now, do I switch things over as we go along, or you recommend waiting till the end and upload everything, or what?
If it were me, I like to I don't like to wait till right when it's shut off to have to learn, because then I feel pressure. So that's why, like, even for me, like, I like to know deadlines for leadership. Like, oh, when are you guys shutting off green sheets? Because I want a couple weeks to learn it, teach it, break it, and then them tell me it's shut off. If I wait to learn it until they shut something off, then I feel like I'm going to be scrambling and stressed out. So I'd practice on you and John and make one.
How do I get into DocuSign right now? I didn't take that class, so.
Because the Walmart